was 1 in the morning, and it was the police. Now, her son Morty had been at the Stonewall the night of the raids. Ever since, he had felt within him a new sense of purpose. So when the officer told Jean that her son had been arrested, which was happening often to gay protesters, she was not entirely caught off guard. And then the officer added one more thing. And you know, he's homosexual. Well, that police officer sure was surprised when Jean responded, "Yes, I know. Why are you bothering him?" Not long after, Jean would be marching side by side with her son through the streets of New York. She carried a sign that stated her support. People cheered. Young men and women ran up to her, kissed her, and asked her to talk to their parents. And this gave Jean and Morty an idea. And so after that march, on the anniversary of the Stonewall protests, amidst the violence and the vitriol of a difficult time for our nation, Jean and her husband Jules, 2 parents who loved their son deeply, formed a group to support other parents, and in turn to support their children as well. And today, the organization they founded for parents, families, and friends of lesbians and gays has more than 200,000 members and supporters. It's made a difference for countless families across America. And Jean would later say, "I considered myself such a traditional person. I didn't even cross the street against the light. But I wasn't going to let anybody walk over Morty." That's the story of America, of ordinary citizens organizing, agitating, and advocating for change, of hope stronger than hate, of love more powerful than any insult or injury, of Americans fighting to build for themselves and their families a nation in which no one is a second-class citizen, in which no one is denied their basic rights, in which all of us are free to live and love as we see fit. That's the promise we're called to fulfill, day by day, law by law, changing mind by mind. That is the promise we are fulfilling. Thank you for the work you're doing. God bless you.
That society that President Obama speaks of is here right now. Here to introduce our award for a nonprofit organization that has blazed a path for acceptance. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tina and David Long.
Don't read things when we go speak anywhere, but this was so important that I don't want to miss it. I don't want to mess it up. Good evening. We're Tina and David Long, and we have our kids Troy and Taryn with us tonight. It's a pleasure to be with you. We met Abby Drew after our son committed suicide from bullying in 2009. We believe that if everyone followed the Ben Marion Institute's values and beliefs, our son would be alive today. Our son wasn't gay. I don't think our kids are gay, that I know of yet. But if they are, it'd be okay. And I don't think it's about our differences. I think it's about tolerance. And I think it's about accepting everyone for who they are, no matter what that might be. Abby has the ability to surround herself with good people. One of those people is Irma Starr, whom we admire so very much. You know, when I met Abby, I thought, I want to be just like her. We're better people because we know Abby. And there's really no better compliment that you can pay a person. We're proud to call the Ben Marion Institute for Social Justice family. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your world. It's an honor.
Abby Drew, we are so proud of you. It is our privilege to introduce Out with the Stars 2012 Nonprofit Award winner, the Ben Marion Institute for Social Justice.
Accepting the award on behalf of the Ben Marion Institute for Social Justice is the Executive Director of the Institute, Abby Drew.
You know, when I speak, I always write these speeches, and I've never yet really held on to one. I've never done one. You know, I would never follow them. I don't know why I write them. I don't know how to take it. Does this come off? That's, you know, I respect my low height. Everybody, my parents would be so pleased and happy to be here. Not because they love me unconditionally, not because they have an institute named in their memory, but because they really love to be with people who have the good sense to know how to love and celebrate everybody and to be so curious about what makes other people tick in an excited way and not a frightened way. So it is with the Ben Marion Institute. So it is with the courage in this room. You know, all evening we have talked about immense journeys of all kinds and experiencing what it's like to be excluded, what it's like to be supported, what it's like to be included. And I know when I was very young, I was taught that we all basically are allowed and should be allowed to be ourselves. Marion and Ben gave me that gift. I want to, before I go any further, I would love, and I know I can't see anything up here, but I have in the room with me, you know, there's teamwork in this. Marion and Ben were my teamwork. I grew up in such a unique family that I wish I could have given them to everybody. But in the room, I have part of the team, and I'd like just very quickly to ask them to stand up for you all to see what really makes an institute. It's not Abby Drew. I'm just smart enough and sensitive enough to learn and be a lifetime learner through other people. The first is Dr. Irma Starr. She's Director of Education. Also, those who were able to make it tonight, and there are just warm, grateful thanks from those who couldn't of the board, our board members who are here. Mr. Michael Edwards. Michael, if you would stand, please. Ernie Lee. Mitchell Smith. And yeah, I know. Marion and Ben. Yes, they talk to me. They taught me by example that children are a hope for the future. I used to hear this a lot when I was young. Hope for the future. We must do good things. And then I grew up. I'm all grown up. And I realized now, and I understand, that we are also the hope and the allies in creating a future for those children, for all our children. To create a world, a future that is kinder, empathetic, and fair. That's one of the reasons I created the Ben Marion Institute. When you hear the stories like we have heard this evening, I grew up in a home where I heard those stories at a very young age. All kinds of stories. My parents were early members of PFLAG. My mother, I think, started on her journey of understanding the importance of helping to nourish the soul of somebody, no matter who they were, and to know that they were okay, by protecting her cousin who came over on a boat in 1929, when being a homosexual was a felony. He had a party or something on the boat, he came in and he was arrested at the docks. My mom was sent to pick him up. They were immigrants, ironically fleeing injustice in Europe. Injustice is everywhere, and so is justice. We just have to work hard to keep it going. My mom kept my uncle, we called him uncle, he was a cousin, secret all his life. 1932, in this country, if you were arrested as a homosexual, you were charged as a felon. And you were a felon for the rest of your life. If you were arrested getting off a boat, usually you'd be sent right back. But my mother, Marion, she had a lot of vigor. And that was not going to happen. Not for someone who had crossed the ocean to make a better world. Who was a kind and gentle man. So my mother enlisted the help of her boss, who was the top criminal attorney in New York City. She was his personal secretary, and they arranged for him to stay, with the condition that my mother would, every year of his life, have to go back to where he lived, New York City, and file sponsorship, file papers to keep him in this country. And she kept his secret, because he wanted a secret, for the rest of his life. And for the rest of her life, she would do this. When he passed away, my parents had cemeteries up in New York. We didn't live in New York anymore. And still owned it. My family are very rich in land, cemeteries. I don't know what's with these immigrants. They buy land. They buy cemetery land. But I'm glad they did, because Carl is buried in her grave. And that kind of story was the kinds of things I knew about injustices. My parents knew the importance of allowing their children to accept their own nature and freely explore their own paths through life. I am so lucky indeed to have been able to be their child. And having that knowledge, you know, has enabled me to live out of a place that, in some ways, it just is familiar to me. It's most important that every adult should never be told that they are not okay, that they are, you know, for being who they truly are. I learned from my parents that it diminishes your soul and it prevents you from living in your full humanity. I hear stories that we're in this room, and this is continual. Some things are not new. They are getting better. But for the Ben Marion, what I strive to do is to promote a type of environment where people can feel safe with being okay no matter how mean-spirited they are. Now, how odd is that? Basically, people are good. I think we are kind by nature, and we are mean-spirited and hateful because we have learned it. My parents were great modelers of what is kind, fair, and they gave that to me, and they gave that to the rest of our family. As illustrated in the symbol above, you can see it, of the Ben Marion Institute. Each time any one of us stands up for an ideal and acts to improve the lot of others, or speaks out against unfairness or injustice. I grew up in a home that did that. A ripple of positive change goes out in ever-widening circles. I hear the word authentic. We all need to be authentically ourselves. It's used a lot today. We use it at the Ben Marion too. But you know, in truth, it's okay, because to be authentic in oneself is the root and the only route to true happiness. To quote my folks, only when our outsides and our insides match, and I can hear them saying it, I can just absolutely hear them saying it, can we hope to be happy And that allows us to be more accepting and supportive of others who are struggling to be accepted for who they are. The simple thing is, when we're authentically and comfortably ourselves, we tend to leave other people alone. We tend to be kinder. Yeah. At the Ben Marion, we help people non-critically and safely begin to understand that no matter how afraid, how keenly mean they can be, that they're still okay. And it's what's important is that non-critically, we give them the encouragement and the support and the empathetic view and behavior of looking at what else they can be and what holds them back from a more enjoyable life. And that goes for everyone, be you gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, straight, whatever you are. On behalf of everyone associated with the Ben Marion Institute, I'm so honored to accept this recognition of our work, and believe me, our commitment to educating for a more compassionate world, a world where everyone is included, and a world where we not only forgive, but we gently encourage people to be more than they already are. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David, Tina, and Abby. Our final stars of the night are from our very own PFLAG Atlanta family, and here to tell you more about them are their children, Sarah, David, and Gordon. Sarah, Gordon, and Chris.
Good evening, I'm Chris. Our friends have called us the Brady Bunch. And I don't think they understand what a compliment I think that is. My brother and I shook that picture of TV perfection when we came out as gay. But my parents learned about and came to accept our gayness. And they went on to advocate for social understanding and political change.
My friends often say to me, your parents are so amazing, they're so supportive and so advocating. And I often reply, well, yes, but it wasn't always that way. It didn't start that way. It took me almost a year to come out when I finally did to them in 1984. And since then they found PFLAG, which was the beginning of their huge transformation, which has brought them to the place that they are now.
In the 26 years since then, my parents have changed the lives of hundreds of families by attending PFLAG meetings, serving in leadership roles, working on safe schools, and presenting at local and national workshops and trainings. They openly advocate for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and trans people in every avenue of their lives. And they have worked tirelessly to change to change attitudes one family at a time. It's all just about unconditional love. It's our honor and our pleasure to present now to them the 2012 Out with the Stars PFLAG Achievement Award to our parents, Dale and Mary Lynn Merkel.
It's been quite a journey the last 28 years. We've grown, we've learned. However, we have not done this alone.
Jackie Schulz was the organizer in Central Pennsylvania PFLAG. 28 years ago, it wasn't that easy to be the demanding voice for LGBT folks. But Jackie didn't waver, and we learned skills from Jackie that showed us how to be effective at doing the same thing she was doing. And as we gained confidence, we went out into our community in Central Pennsylvania, in our churches, in our schools, and we spoke on behalf of our sons and their friends.
And when we retired, we moved to Bay City, Michigan. PFLAG Tri-Cities gave us the green light to keep doing, keep learning, just to keep going toward justice and equality. Barbara and Rich Cormelink were our examples. We served on panels, we wrote articles, we went on TV, radio, we told our story.
Now you'd think by this time that we'd be all set, but no. We moved to Atlanta, and there we became part of the PFLAG folks. Lib Rumsfeld and Karen Turner just invited us into the fold, and we became part of the Speakers Bureau. We made so many new friends, and those people helped share our dreams for equality. Our chapter has grown in the 8 years that we've been part of this chapter. We've not only gained members, but we've gained in the appearance in the community and in strength. This chapter reaches out. It reaches out to parents, it reaches out to friends, and to families who struggle with new knowledge about someone they love.
And we have to thank National PFLAG. With its limited resources and very small staff, somehow managed to make great strides in helping every community understand the importance of true equality.
But most of all, we want to thank our children. Gordy, who summoned up the courage to tell us he was gay, and then waited while our knowledge and education of the LGBT community caught up with how much we loved him. And then Chris, who, when he told us it was an easier time for us because we knew more, but he has lived his whole adult life with integrity and honesty. And lastly, our daughter Sarah, who absolutely accepted her gay brothers and educated many of her school friends about what unconditional love is really all about.
Way back in 1984, when Gordon first told us he was gay, we wondered if we had done something wrong. Many parents will resonate with that. We now realize we did something right. We allowed our children to be themselves, free to find success and failure, free to live as they were created. Our sons, Gordon and Chris, gave us a gift. They gave us a bigger, wider world for seeking justice for everyone.
We thank you for this award. Unconditional love wins.
Now it's time to hear from our awesome PFLAG Atlanta co-presidents who have put in a tremendous amount of work on this fundraiser and all year round. Connell, Charles, and Fran Brandino, please come on up.
Wonderful to see all of you tonight supporting this organization that is so special to me. A special thank you to my friends for coming here tonight. And a very special thank you to my husband, Leo, for being so understanding and supportive of my dedication to PFLAG. The third Sunday of every month, I know I am home at PFLAG Atlanta. Leo and I first started coming to meetings more than 6 years ago after we found out that our daughter, Amanda, was gay. The members provided so much support and encouragement. But like Tori and David said earlier, our group was so small a number. Over time, though, something changed. The positive energy really started a few years ago, and the number of people attending our meetings has now more than quadrupled. This year, that positive energy has become contagious. We're so happy that PFLAG Atlanta has helped revive the Athens chapter and helped establish new chapters in Johns Creek and Peachtree City.
Before us LGBT kids can ever say the 4 words, Mom, Dad, I'm gay, there's usually a PFLAG parent who asks us the 4 words that goes before, does your mother know? Babs, can you stand up? Where are you? You asked me that question at Pride 3 years ago and started me on my PFLAG journey, and you have helped talk to my mom in India, and you have kept my family intact, and for that I thank you. The driving force behind our movement have been our incredible PFLAG parents. They've stood behind us and marched with us, even when they were still learning. Tonight is your night, parents. Please, let's have a round of applause for all the parents here tonight. John, if you don't mind, could we have the lights up so we can see everyone who's being asked to stand? Okay.
Our children have been our rocks, giving us courage when we needed it by living their lives authentically and unafraid and supporting one another. To all our PFLAG children, LGBT and straight, we will always love you unconditionally, no matter what. This evening is a tribute to you for starting us on this journey and challenging us to keep going. I love you, Amanda, Lindsay, and Stephen. And now let's give a round of applause to all our children.
On a personal note, I would like to thank my partner David. You have supported me through planning this entire thing and this entire evening. He's also been our announcer for the evening with a great radio voice and made possible all the sound and music tonight. Thank you, David. This evening would not have been possible were for some very special people who made it all happen. There are too many to mention individually, so if our awesome MCs, photographer, coordinators, and volunteers for this event could please stand up, we'd like to give you a round of applause. They're all sitting in the back because they want to help out people coming in, so could you please all stand up?
We invite all of you to support our mission at PFLAG. On Monday at work, when people ask you, what'd you do this weekend? Tell them you went to a PFLAG fundraiser and you had the best time. And when they say, what's PFLAG? You can say, oh, that's parents, families, and friends of lesbian and gays. And we support the LGBT community and their parents. You will instantly become a PFLAG advocate and a straight ally. Yes.
On your tables there are cards you can fill in to help our PFLAG Atlanta chapter. You can help us out. It doesn't have to be money. You can help us out by marching with us at Pride. We love to have all the parents there showing their love for their kids, as well as coming to a PFLAG meeting to help a new parent. The money we raise here tonight from the silent auction and our table tonight will go towards PFLAG's mission to support, educate, and advocate for our families. We're working with a diverse range of organizations, from schools in every county in Georgia to just recently the United States Penitentiary. And we do it all for free. Your generosity helps keep families together, end bullying, and show people that our families are just as wonderful as anyone else's.
You can drop the completed cards. There'll be a box on the way out. And once again, thank you all for coming and your presence here tonight. You mean the world to us. All of you are our stars. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here tonight.
And thank you for your generosity, not only from your wallet, but from your heart.
The silent auction is going to end in 10 minutes. Be sure to go check out the bidding sheets on anything that you might have bid on to see if you still have the highest bid. It's going to be closing down very soon. And if anybody feels the need to have a cab to get home safely, you can get one at the registration desk over there. Please don't drive impaired. We'll need you next year.
It has been our honor and privilege to serve as your host this evening. Thank you and good night.
Good night, everybody.